Welcome back, everybody. I swear that this was really beautifully lit like 20 minutes ago. Even more so an hour and a half ago when I actually set this up, but then life happened and I couldn't get to recording this until now when the light is really dull and flat. Very on point for the subject of this video, which is how to fit creative work into your life as a real person.
A real boy!
Wake up early in the morning, I gotta hit the ground running. Got a million things to do, don't know where the time is going. But in the back of my mind, there's a melody to be sung. I know I ain't got the time, but the time flies, but I'm stuck in the race. No time for fun, no time to embrace all my dreams and all my
Note, I am a photography channel, so this will be largely in the context of photography, but I think a lot of these principles are applicable and broad enough to cover pretty much any creative discipline. Focus. Use what you have and limit yourself. So when I say that, I mean just give yourself a creative sandbox to play in. One camera for 2 weeks, hello, the start of this channel. Or one lens, one focal length, one photo a day, shoot all black and white, or shoot only green doors for whatever I care. Just set yourself some kind of a limitation, because if you don't define the creative sandbox, you can't build the sandcastle. That is probably the worst analogy I've ever come up with, but keep it simple, strip it back, and give yourself limitations. Be intentional with your digital consumption. In particular, social media platforms like this one. Practicing a little bit of digital minimalism has really benefited my productivity and my ability to focus. Digital minimalism, if you don't know, is a term that was coined by Cal Newport, who is the author of the book of the same name. And what he has done is just point out what we probably all know, but like these platforms, they are designed and engineered to cause us to watch longer and scroll deeper, even though we know those calories at a certain point have diminishing returns and are essentially empty. It makes a lot of sense from a business perspective, but it is not great for productivity and focus from a personal perspective. I pretty much do like 1 week of digital cleanse every 3 months, 6 months, something like that, just to kind of level set and rebalance and repath my neural sort of like pathways, repath my pathways. Our devices do often have limiters like built into them, screen time limiters. I think that's great. I'm so happy to see companies doing that. E-ink device. So this one is kind of a soft recommend because I do have one and I do really like mine and I use it for all of my notes. It's replaced paper and pen for me. I use it for all my notes. I use it for my YouTube videos. I do like the fact that it's not a blue screen. So at night when I'm trying to wind down, I just get to have a little bit more of an analog experience, but they are expensive, they are very niche, and all of my work is on the computer. So I don't really have a lot of options there, but I do try to just for my personal stuff be on my e-ink reader unless I am like doing a YouTube video edit or something like that. Physical minimalism will also help you be focused. So just clearing out your space. This feels like suddenly just a fully minimalist video or something like that. You just Seeing as we're talking about minimalism, let's talk about today's sponsor, CleanMyMac, who has been keeping my digital clutter under control for 7 years. And I'm not even kidding. I have the receipt to prove it.
Salud!
So what I like to do is actually go into CleanMyMac and just run a smart scan. This is my favorite thing because at the click of a button, it's gonna go through and clean up all of my files. Hi, baby.
It's time for dinner.
All right, I'll be right there, okay? Let me just finish this up.
Want to put the name?
Oh, I love the eggs. Thank you so much. Hey, will you close that door behind you so I can finish this up really fast? Thank you, my love.
When you come in, I want you to put the name.
You got it. All right, sounds good.
Since you are my new partner.
I'm your new partner. So delighted. And in just about the time that it took my daughter to come in here and tell me about her Easter egg hunt, this is already halfway done. It is going through the, look at that. I also love the space lens because it will identify all the largest files hanging out on my laptop, which I may have forgotten about, which often happens with video edits because you might have started a project and it's just sitting in the background and you have a huge video file that's just slowing everything else down and you forgot about it. So this will help identify that.
You can get a 7-day free trial and 20% off for 2 weeks in the link down in the description.
So thank you, CleanMyMac, for sponsoring this episode, and back to the program. Focus on the practice and not the result. So this is, pretty basic, but I think really important. There's a woman named Julia Cameron who wrote The Artist's Way. She has an exercise called Daily Pages, and you just have to write, I can't remember exactly, but like 2 pages, freehand. You're not allowed to stop your pen at any point. You just have to get anything that's in your head out on paper. And the idea isn't that you're going to write some prolific Hemingway novel. It's simply about getting it out on paper, and then that's all fodder for what will come.
I stopped trying to be brilliant, and I started trying to be useful. And of course, what happened was that my writing straightened out, my career straightened out. I said to myself, well, if it's a choice between being a teacher and an artist, I'm going to be an artist. I don't want to be a teacher. But then I found out that when I unblocked myself as a teacher, I unblocked myself as an artist.
If you focus on the practice, the result will come, but you won't get a result if you're not in the practice. But Allie, how am I supposed to do all this cool focus shit if I have no time? I don't have any time. I hold 2 jobs. I've got this, that, and the other. I know. I really do, because I'm right there with you. Don't to-do list, calendarize. I actually do to-do lists, but I'll take my to-do list and I'll then just prioritize what's actually really important, what can I wait on, what's lower funnel, sort of just let that hang out. Realistically, I also know the time blocks that it takes to accomplish the things on my to-do list, and then I put that on my calendar. That is a commitment to myself to execute on the thing that I want to do. Now, it won't always stand, right? You do have to be open to life and things that happen. You get a flat tire, your client wants to get on a call at the worst possible time this morning, and you have to be flexible. But if you don't put it on the calendar, it won't even get potentially done, right? So calendarize your time rather than living in a to-do list that's sort of nebulous. Today, I put 4 to 5 p.m. I am making this video. I'm shooting this video, and I won't even be able to finish this right now because I have a 5 o'clock meeting, and I know that I will only get a certain amount of this done, but then we'll circle back at the end and finish it. Block out at least some time for your creative endeavors. Also, just be aware of your stage of life. I remember when my kids were super young, I was really frustrated because I had absolutely no time, but just know that that too will pass. Just having it on your mind, you will make time when it is available to you. But put it on the calendar. Be prepared and maximize your days and nights. At night, I put all of my cameras on the charger. I mean, not all of them, but the one that I'm shooting, I put on the charger so that the next morning I don't have to be like, oh shit, I didn't charge my camera. Try to make lunches the night before a big adventure day so that we can get up and see the sunrise. Take walks during my meetings so that my meetings are on my earbuds and I can still have my camera and be listening, but also taking pictures. Plan my days off around some cool thing that might be happening in the world. Always carry a camera. So this equates to carrying a notebook for pretty much any other artist, but just having something to record your thoughts, your ideas, your visuals, whatever. Most of what I shoot is done in transit in daily life, between home and the grocery store or on a walk around the neighborhood. So this is what I usually do after I drop off my kids, is just drive around for usually 5 to 10 minutes just to see if there's anything to capture or just to exercise my eye with. And I don't, with a project like what I'm working on now with community, commune, connection, core, all those things, I don't really anticipate seeing, but I like what I see here, just as an image. I don't expect that this would serve the project in any way, but it's more like an exercise just to sort of be looking. And again, this is just all about fitting in what you can in the time that you have. And if you're a parent, you probably have no time. So these are the moments. may get nothing, and most of the times I will get nothing. But it may end up being a scout for a place I want to shoot later and return to. I may get, some random sort of happy accident, or I may get like a crazy IG banger.
Tonight we're gonna be supermodels.
You never know. Always shoot JPEG. Now, this is not something I do very often, and it's not something I recommend to everyone. But if you really want to maximize your time, you can just commit to shooting JPEG. Not only will it make you a master of your camera, because you will have to get right in camera what most people might fix in post, but it will really train your ability to see light and work through composition, right? And if you want to take it one step further, just shoot exclusively in black and white and be the modern Cartier-Bresson, who, if you don't know, is like one of the most famous photographers of all time, was one of the founders of Magnum, the photo agency, and was famous for never cropping.
I don't think of photography. I think of what I see and geometry. That means everything has to be composed.
Note that shooting JPEG only does compromise flexibility, as you can't change the files to color if you're shooting black and white, for example, after the fact. And you definitely don't get as much latitude in JPEG photos. So I do actually like shooting raw, and I like accounting for the time that it takes to do post-production, because for me, that is actually some of the most fun parts of photography. I'm a bit of a nerd in that way. You can also just shoot film. I know it's a little bit more expensive now, but you definitely get to maximize your time with film. It's actually one of the things that I love the most about film, is that you just get to focus on the shooting and someone else does the processing and the printing and all of that stuff. And if you're working with someone to get the look that you like and that just stays consistent, they can even sort of bring all your body of work together. The time is always now. Don't wait for the perfect X, Y, or Z. The perfect time, the perfect light, the perfect gear. Perfect is the enemy of good. Just pick up the camera and start shooting, or whatever craft you want to engage with. I went to the beach the other day, and it was, of course, like the middle of the day, the worst possible light. I had my Micro Four Thirds Panasonic G9 camera, which is not exemplary dynamic range. I shot anyway. And I ended up getting a shot that I really, really liked. I was working on sort of a project around community, and the girls that I had, my girls and some friends, were on the beach, and they just started making this home. And I was like, wow, that's just crazy. That's exactly the kind of thing that I'm trying to capture for this project. It didn't look good in color. And so I flipped it to black and white, and that one decision influenced like the whole look and feel of the project that I've been working on now. So it's just those little moments, being open to them, just never waiting for the perfect anything, and just ensuring that you're working towards something, having that focus, that limitation, that sort of concept to work toward, had me view things in a different way that actually turned into, a productive output. And finally, take a break. Let things marinate, put down the camera, go back to the well, dye the cloth.
Dyeing the cloth.
I grew up in a commune of sorts led by a guy named Maharishi, who brought transcendental meditation to the US in like the 60s or the 70s. He's the guy you've probably seen hanging out with Beatles if you were like of a certain age.
Far from the noise and pace of city life, in the cool, clear air of Rishikesh, North India, Pathy News reports from the meditation retreat of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the man who, through transcendental meditation, is currently bringing peace of mind to the Beatles.
He coined this idea of dyeing the cloth in this 1972 lecture that I had to watch growing up. And the analogy is you have a white cloth, right? And you want it to be yellow. So you take it to the vat, you dip it in yellow dye, you take it out, you dry it. And as it dries, it lightens and it loses a bit of its color. So then you take it, once it's dry, you dip it back in the dye, and then it comes out and you dry it in the sun, and it's a little deeper yellow. And it's just every time you take it to dry and you bring it back to the well to absorb more color, and eventually it will be color fast. I think this is very relevant to the creative practice, right? So there are times to work and there are times to absorb. We've basically been covering the work up until now, finding the time, finding the focus. But what's really important is having the inspiration.
There are too many ideas and things and people, too many directions to go. I was starting to believe the reason it matters to care passionately about something is that it whittles the world down to a more manageable size.
So, inspiration. Where do you find it? Everywhere. Honestly, everywhere. Museums, concerts, movies. These are the obvious but also important sources of inspiration. But push yourself to go look at and listen to things that you wouldn't normally. So like before kids, I used to go to these 2 art house theaters in New York that I absolutely loved. And I was just kind of like signing me up for the 5 o'clock movie. I had no idea what I was walking into. And I was always surprised by how many great movies were being made that I had never heard of. And I would take little things away from them, right? They would all have a little kernel of inspiration for me. Sometimes they were really bad, and I hate wasting time on a bad movie. But even that can be a learning. Getting out is much harder for me now, and art house movie marathons are, for better or worse, a thing of the past. But there are always airplanes where I can watch movies. It's actually pretty much the only place I watch movies now. But I still try and fill my life with this sort of inspiration by meeting life where it is for me right now.
The cardiovascular part of our workout. Develop your heart and lung muscles. Let your heels touch down and don't forget to breathe. 1,
Exercise.
2.
Move your body, touch grass, get into nature, sweat it out, exercise in showers. The most inspirational places. There's nothing quite like exercise, I think, to clear the mind and remember that you're alive. Search for surprising oddities. I'm always looking for off the beaten path items like historic air parks or deserted zoos or traveling circus events. Like, I look for the things that are maybe just a little bit outside the norm. Of course, do it safely. I've been in LA now 7 years, and every weekend I try to find something new. Take the kids somewhere new, try a new restaurant. Like, we're always just doing stuff. And most of the stuff that we do is completely free. It's like open parks or like weird ruins or whatever. So it doesn't have to cost money. It just takes investment of time. And again, as someone who likes the photographic medium, it's an excellent excuse for me to get out, and that becomes my shoot. That is how I get my images. Aim to fill your life, not with beautiful things, though beautiful things are nice, but with beautiful experiences and deep, interesting relationships. If you live a life worth documenting, people will want to see it. Print your work. People say this all the time, and it is easy to dismiss, like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'll print my work, blah. But taking even 10 minutes to actually print your work, or just like a single image or a series of 5 and start sequencing, there is no greater satisfaction. And you do not have to be precious about it. You don't have to think like, oh, I have to do this like gallery print, whatever. Print it on Xerox paper. I have a Pixma, whatever, Canon Pixma from a million years ago that's still kicking. I have also connected my Instagram to a service that will just automatically print anything on my feed. So I get these like monthly books of just any images, not precious, not expensive. And it is such a wonderful way to look at what I have created and also just start to look at, oh, wow, okay, I see themes here. Like, I'm always taking pictures of X, Y, or Z. And then that theme can become a much bigger piece of work. Now I've also gotten into the pattern of every vacation, I create a book at the end of it, of all the pictures I've taken. For the most part, I auto-populate a folder of images that I've exported from Lightroom because I don't have the time, and I'm okay with that. But having the physical is it just brings another level to the creative process and provides further focus, further inspiration, and further desire to make time for this wonderful thing that we call photography. At the end of the day, have fun. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. So plan it all, but be here, experience it, live it, print it. Until next time, thanks for watching.